So let's have a look at line labeling in Civil 3D. So this has a routine that will label lines automatically. So what you do to label lines is you want to go to Annotate, that's the tab, and then there's an Add Label button over here. Now it has two sides, so the first thing we want to do is pick the top, which is where you set the style for the label. So you start top down on this, you would pick the feature. We're going to label lines, so we want line and curve. Then we have the label type. Single segment is usually what I use because I pick the segments one at a time. And then the style. And we just need to worry about the line label style here because we're going to label lines. So what we have here is a number of styles. Now, I have a code here that I've used for these styles. BRG means bearing, DIST means distance, and then there's top and bottom, which is the top and bottom of the line after the BRG and the DIST. And then there's a number for the font, how big the text height will be when you plot. So 8's a little smaller, 10's a little bigger. Often when I'm in the inside of a complicated drawing, I'll use 8 so that my text is smaller so I can fit it into where I need to fit it. And then on the exterior long lines on the boundary, I might use a 10, which is a little bit bigger and stands out a little bit more. So we just have a variety of styles here. Be sure you're using the ones with the 8s and the 10s. Some of these are auto-generated by the program and don't really fit with what we're trying to do. So use a style with 8s and 10s in it. And you can kind of figure out, what's going on with these. Here's a bearing on the top distance, or excuse me, bearing on the bottom, distance on the bottom. So BOT is bottom. And then there's bearing top, distance bottom there. So top would be the top of the line, etc., etc. Here's bearing only. Here's a distance only on the bottom, okay, with an 8 font. So you can kind of figure that out. All right, so let's label a couple of these. Let's see, let's go bearing bottom and distance bottom there. Okay, so after you've picked the style, you can hit add, and then you can add the labels. To add the label, you just pick the line and the label's put on. Okay, and that's really about all there is to it. Now, there is one issue with this, and that what we're doing here, we're labeling single segments, which actually labels the entire line. When you have these long exterior lines, with using this choice here, you can't really label each of the little intermediate lot lines within this long exterior line, okay? So to do that, what you want to do is to pick a different label type. You want to pick the line between 2 points. Now, before you do that, though, you want to close the routine and come back in, okay? So it seems to me that every time you pick a different label type, you want to open the program, or not the program, but open the dialog box at separate times. So every time you're going to change something in there, it does seem to me that you want to open the dialog box again. So any single segment, you just open the dialog box once. But if I want to change it and go to a line between 2 points, I'd want to close, come back in and open it again. Okay, now I'm still going to pick a style. So I'm just going to put the distance on these. So distance only, top 8, I think I'll pick. All right, and then I'll add. Now notice now it says pick the start point. Okay, so be sure you use an O-snap here. And go ahead and pick that, and then pick the end point. And then I'll pick the second point, and there's the distance just for that line segment, okay? So that's how that works. So you can either label the entire line, or if you wish, you can label the distance between 2 points. Now, these are fairly easy to edit, so there's a few things you can do. To edit them, what you do is you pick them to grip edit it, and pick the diamond usually. You can slide them to where you want them to be on the line, so you can move them that way. Now, you can do some other things as well when you grip edit. So if you right-click here, you get some options. You can flip the label, which means to put it on the other side of the line. That's one thing that you can do. So notice currently the label's on the right-hand side of the line. If I pick that diamond and right-click, I can flip the label, put it on the other side of the line. Okay, so that's one thing that you can do with that. I'll probably flip it back just to get it out of the way of those other two distances. Now you can do some other things too though. So I need to grip edit, there we go, then right click. Okay, I can reverse the label with this. Now notice that currently that's a northwest bearing. If I want it to read southeast, I can just flip the label. I'm sorry, reverse the label. Reverse is the term for that. Okay. And then it's a southeast instead of a northwest. Okay, I can do that. I can also edit the label style. So if I want to change the style, if I want the text to be smaller, let's say, I could go ahead and pick the smaller style, hit OK, and see the text gets smaller. Okay, and you could play around with that, but basically what you do is you grip edit and then right click, and that will get you to a lot of these editing functions that they have.